With us from Dublin is Donnacha O Beacha, who is a professor of post-Soviet politics at Dublin City University. He's got a book coming out called The Domestic Politics of Post-Soviet Unrecognised States. Donnacha, thanks for your time. I know you're busy, so I did want to come to you just quickly. Now, we've been talking a lot with the ambassador here as well. You may have heard about international reaction, and you know, the words are strong, maybe not in China's case there. The words are strong, but there's got to be backed up with some sort of action now.
Yes, and unfortunately, I mean, the world has to be asking itself, what the hell was it doing since 2014? I mean, Ukraine has been under occupation and has been invaded since 2014, and the sanctions that were initiated then and pursued then and since then not only have not deterred Vladimir Putin, but they have indeed emboldened him. Here we find him 8 years later, back again, taking additional pieces of Ukraine and essentially declaring war on Ukraine. So sanctions haven't worked. Ukraine is very much on its own. And I mean, it's not on its own. Of course, the world is united behind Ukraine, but Ukraine knows that no other country except Ukraine is going to defend itself militarily. And that's a very lonely place. And it's a vindication, by the way, of NATO, because inherent in Vladimir Putin's speech that he gave was blaming NATO. And NATO expansionism eastwards. There never was a NATO expansionism eastward. These were countries in Europe trying to expand westwards, trying to regain their place in Europe as sovereign democracies and escape the abusive cycle of history which the Kremlin imposed on these countries over decades, even centuries.
Sorry to interrupt you. Specifically, what more could have been done in these past years? Again, the ambassador was talking to us before about things which need to happen now, actions which need to happen now, closing of airspace and things to help Ukraine right now. But short of something preemptive in the last 5 or 6 years, what should/could the West have done?
The West could have imposed the kind of sanctions they're talking now in 2014. I mean, that would have been a start. I mean, we had Nord Stream being built after the annexation of Crimea. Now it's been taken off the table as a kind of as a punishment for Russia. But again, you have to ask yourself, what were people thinking building this pipeline around Ukraine so that gas could be shipped without inconveniencing customers in Western Europe, but essentially subverting Ukraine, because of course the pipelines were hitherto going through Ukraine. So there was a lack of solidarity with Ukraine. There's no question. And Ukraine was forgotten about. Let's be honest here. Were people really thinking about Ukraine between 2014 and now? Russia has proven itself to be a very determined adversary of Ukraine and the Ukrainian people, which, as we've seen from Vladimir Putin, he doesn't even recognize have a right to exist. But Ukraine has been misfortunate in that its allies have been comparatively irresolute, and that's what needs to change.
Donnacha O Beacha from Dublin City University, thanks so much for your time. I'm sure you're going to be busy today. We appreciate that. Andrei